What if a tiny piece of paper could turn your world into a vivid, colorful dream? In this video, we delve into the mysterious and potent world of LSD, a hallucinogen that has fascinated and terrified humanity since its discovery. We'll explore its history, effects, and the scientific mechanisms behind its profound impact on the brain. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. In February 2024, after consuming a certain drug, she murmured, "I'm becoming a new me," and tragically threw herself from the 8th floor of her apartment building, resulting in her death. The drug she took was 1D-LSD, a structural analog of LSD, known as one of the most potent hallucinogens. This chemical is believed to convert into LSD in the body, causing hallucinations and evading legal regulation as a designer drug. In this tragic incident, the true culprit is thought to be the LSD generated in her body. But what exactly is LSD? When and how did this hallucinogen appear in human society? And how does it act in the body to drive one's mind to madness? LSD, known for its intense hallucinations, was first synthesized in 1938. The protagonist of this story is Swiss scientist Dr. Albert Hofmann. At that time, he was studying the metabolic products of ergot fungi, which parasitize rye and wheat, causing poisoning with symptoms like numbness, pain in the limbs, and intense hallucinations. Among many toxic substances, he was particularly fascinated by a compound called lysergic acid, and was attempting to modify its chemical structure to evaluate its effectiveness as a drug to suppress postpartum hemorrhage. The compound that emerged from these attempts was lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD. However, it did not have the hemostatic effect he had hoped for and was considered a failure. 5 years later, in April, Hofmann resumed research on this compound. By chance, he touched LSD with his hand, experiencing colorful hallucinations. This was the first time a human confirmed the hallucinogenic effects of LSD. Being a true scientist, he intentionally took 250 micrograms of LSD 3 days later on April 19 and conducted a human experiment on himself. As expected, the world before his eyes became distorted, and he was overwhelmed by hallucinations and euphoria. Incidentally, he rode his bicycle home while experiencing these beautiful hallucinations. So April 19th is celebrated as Bicycle Day. Initially, LSD was not regulated by law, making it legal in many countries. Its potent psychoactive effects made it popular in various fields, including psychiatry, spiritual cultures aiming for soul liberation, and arts like music. However, its extremely strong effects naturally raised concerns, and from the late 1960s onward, it was illegalized in most countries. Nonetheless, some countries and regions still tolerate the use of LSD. For example, the Czech Republic does not criminalize the possession of small amounts for personal use. Portugal decriminalizes the possession of small amounts for personal use despite its legal prohibition. Mexico allows possession of up to 15 milligrams. And in the United States, it is illegal at the federal level, but in Oregon, possession of small amounts can result in a maximum fine of $100 or participation in a medical program. The world is surprisingly diverse, and humanity's tolerance for this drug varies greatly. LSD, the miraculous hallucinogen discovered by chance, shows you an extraordinary and colorful world through a highly unique mechanism that combines intricacy and intensity. In the underground world, LSD is commonly distributed in the form of blotters, small pieces of paper with beautiful designs soaked in LSD. The typical method of consumption involves placing this piece of paper under the tongue, allowing the LSD to dissolve and be absorbed through the blood vessels under the tongue. What is astonishing is the small dosage required. A mere 100 micrograms, far less than a pinch of earwax, can distort your perception for up to 12 hours. Why does it last so long? The reason lies in the fact that LSD induces hallucinations by binding to specific serotonin receptors in the brain's nerve cells. During this process, the structure of the receptor changes to cover the binding site of LSD, preventing it from dislodging easily. In other words, once these specific receptors capture LSD, They hold onto it tightly, not letting go easily. This long-lasting binding state is thought to result in prolonged effects. From the perspective of its impact on the brain's network structure, LSD is also extremely intriguing. The human brain has regions that activate depending on the type of processing, exchanging information to control the mind and body. A significant site of LSD's action is the thalamus, which acts as a relay station that transmits information from the external world to the cerebral cortex. LSD interferes with this function, causing an influx of information. Thus, your brain under the influence of LSD is a chaotic flood of information, triggering its strong mental effects. Relatedly, LSD suppresses a network structure known as the default mode network, which is mainly active during rest and controls what information is brought to consciousness and what is excluded. When this function breaks down, brain regions that normally do not interact begin to interact, potentially allowing you to derive genius ideas or new insights from the sea of the unconscious. This is why LSD is favorably received in creative fields like art. The collapse of the brain's network structure is not limited to the default mode network. This drug causes a mix-up and connection of different functional domains responsible for vision, hearing, movement, and other various functions. During this time, the visual cortex, which is particularly active, plays a significant role. Therefore, LSD distorts the scenery that enters your vision and brings you abnormal hallucinations, such as being able to see sounds. This phenomenon is called synesthesia and is a unique hallucinatory symptom of LSD. In other words, LSD intrudes into the fundamental principles of the brain, which is based on the division of roles and functions, creating holes in the walls of brain regions responsible for different information processing, such as vision, hearing, and movement, thereby transforming your brain into a chaotic information processing device. Hearing this might make you think of it as a witch's wand that stirs and melts the brain. But that judgment isn't entirely accurate. This is because the characteristic of functional division of brain regions is not something humans are born with but is acquired as they mature, making it a kind of acquired trait. In fact, the brain of a young child has incomplete functional role division of brain regions compared to that of a mature adult. And it is known that there are many commonalities with the brain of an adult high on LSD. Parents of young children might particularly resonate with this point. Indeed, children often leap over the common sense of adults with their whimsical ideas, and they excel at accepting the world as it is and deriving joy from it. From this perspective, LSD can be seen as a magical spice that transforms you into a pure child, a genius of emotion, or a demon of sensitivity. While it might seem like a fun drug that turns your brain into an amusement park, it is still not recommended to use this narcotic for recreational purposes. This is because the hallucinations induced by LSD can resurface suddenly even after the drug has been completely metabolized and eliminated from the body. This phenomenon is called hallucinogen persisting perception disorder (HPPD), more commonly known as flashbacks. And it can continue for years after discontinuing the use of LSD. In severe cases, unique symptoms such as objects appearing larger or smaller, movements seeming fast or in slow motion, and one's body feeling distorted, resembling the features of Alice in Wonderland syndrome, can manifest. While it is suggested that LSD might damage nerve cells, the detailed mechanism is unclear, and there is no established treatment. The rainbow dream shown by 100 micrograms of LSD continues to fascinate some people even today. However, remember that the small piece of paper you hold could become a one-way ticket to the other side of reality. That concludes today's science discussion. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.